I bought the best mouse for Minecraft bridging. This is the Roccat Kain 100, and it is known for its ability to drag click insanely well and be used to complete the most advanced bridging methods in Minecraft. Today, I'll be putting it to the test to see whether or not it lives up to the hype and if it's a mouse that you should consider buying. I'll be testing out every clicking method, including an insanely good drag click, and I'll also be trying this mouse out in Bed Wars, bridging, and MLG Rush. If you do end up enjoying the video today, please do consider subscribing. It really does help out so much, but with that being said, let's get into it. The Kain 100 comes in at a reasonable price of $50, and for this price you're getting a mouse that can perform pretty much every single clicking method and has a great build quality overall. This mouse comes in at a weight of 89 grams, which kind of puts it in the middle ground of mice, and I have to say I really do enjoy this weight. And on top of this, for $50, this mouse actually does feel like a very good quality build. The plastic on it doesn't feel cheap at all, the buttons feel smooth, and though I've heard a lot of stories about this mouse breaking over time, so far I'd say it's pretty good. Normal clicking on this mouse feels about what you'd expect. The only thing I really have to say here is that the mouse button is very sensitive and you barely have to press it down whatsoever to get a single click. I'll get more into why this is important for other clicking methods later, but for normal clicking this does feel pretty nice and it makes it easy to use for other things outside of Minecraft. Depending on how experienced you are, you'll probably get somewhere between 6 to 10 CPS with normal clicking. Now, jitter clicking on this mouse does also feel really nice, and because of the sensitive surface, it does feel very easy to get about 12 to 13 CPS on average. This mouse feels a little bit more stable for most clicking methods due to the mouse feet being very good for not sliding around on my mouse pad when I don't want them to. This means that my jitter clicking is a little bit more accurate with this mouse than other mice I've used in the past, which I'd honestly say is a big bonus. Butterfly clicking is really interesting on this mouse, and the reason for that is that it's kind of hard to get high CPS. I can still get around 18 to 20 CPS with my butterfly clicking, and the mouse does double click very easily. The only issue with it is that the mouse button is very skinny, and for that reason it's a lot harder to butterfly click on the buttons individually than something like the Model O or the A70. The square shape of this mouse also does make it feel a little bit skinnier in general, which is quite interesting and something I'd had to get used to over the past couple of days. Overall though, if you can adjust to the skinny mouse button, you'll be able to butterfly click just fine, and because this mouse is so good for both jitter and butterfly clicking, it does make it a great option for PvP as a whole. But if I'm being totally honest, if you clicked on a video with a Kain 100 in the title, you're probably more interested in drag clicking. And this mouse does not disappoint. Right out of the box, the Kain is super easy to drag click on for me. As I mentioned before, the mouse buttons are so sensitive and you barely have to press them down at all to get a click out of them. And for this reason, drag clicking feels quite a bit different than most of the other mice I've used in the past. But once I got used to this, it made the mouse very easy to drag click on, and I didn't even need tape or anything like that. Though I expect I might in the future once the surface wears down a little bit. Short drag clicking has to be one of the best features about this mouse entirely. The reason I say this is because the mouse feet do not move whatsoever when you're short drag clicking. You don't even need to hold this mouse to short drag click on it, because when you don't hold the mouse, it still won't glide around on your desk when you're doing drag clicking. In my opinion, this makes the mouse 100% the best one to buy if you're trying to learn how to godbridge, moonwalk, breezely, or something like that. And if you don't really care about the bridging methods, the CPS that you get with short drag clicking is anywhere from about 12 to 20. It really depends on how much you're pressing down on the mouse surface. But now let's take an in-depth look at long drag clicking. As the Minecraft community has become more advanced, long drag clicking is something that's been implemented way more into things like block clutching and bridging. There's a couple main things about the mouse itself that make long drag clicking very interesting. Firstly, the mouse buttons only start about halfway across the mouse, which means that your drag clicks aren't quite as long as something like the A70 where the mouse is bigger and the button goes all the way to the very bottom of the mouse. The surface also being so sensitive and smooth makes long drag clicking feel a lot different than something like a bloody mouse, because on bloody mice you have to press down quite a lot to get the drag click started, whereas on the Roccat mouse you're drag clicking your finger way more gently to still get the same amount of CPS. But how much CPS exactly does a long drag click get on this mouse? From my experience, this mouse gets anywhere from about 30 to 50, and doesn't go much higher than 50. I'm not 100% certain on this, but I believe that this mouse is capped somewhere around 50 CPS, and that's the reason you don't see it go much higher. With this being said, you really don't need any more than 50, let alone about 20 CPS with your mouse, but it is something that a lot of drag clickers like to look for. This mouse does feel really nice for bridging, and I did get a few telly bridging clips and a lot of fails with this mouse, but at this point I've only had it for about 2 days and really don't know how to use it all that well, and I expect sometime down the road I'll probably use this mouse to get some better clips and upload that as well. But for only having this mouse for about a day, getting a couple telly bridging clips and a ton of godbridge clips is something that I really didn't expect, and this mouse has generally been really impressive for bridging as a whole. Because of this mouse being able to drag click so nicely, it is also good for things like MLG Rush and clutching, but because the mouse button is a bit shorter, you are kind of limited in the way you can clutch. But honestly, at that point it's kind of a stretch, and I'll probably get more into that in another video where I compare it to something like the A70. For now though, I have to say that this mouse has not disappointed me whatsoever, and I'm very excited to see how good I'll be in even a couple of weeks. But at the moment, I'm still getting adjusted to this mouse, and that does pretty much wrap up everything I think I had to say here today. So if you did end up enjoying, please do consider subscribing. It really does help out so much. But with that being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.